Across war zones and broken borders, echoes of truth still break through. This is Global Echo.
Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine, now in its fourth year, has become a grinding war of attrition. What began as a rapid assault has devolved into entrenched, high-tech warfare across a 1,000-kilometer front. Ukrainian officials estimate Russian casualties have surpassed 1 million, while millions of civilians have been displaced and cities lie in ruins. The conflict is now a test of endurance and national survival, with both sides locked in a deadly stalemate. Ukraine, bolstered by Western aid, continues to resist Russia's relentless pressure in the east and northeast. Peace remains elusive. Kyiv demands full restoration of its territory, while Moscow clings to its annexed regions. Sporadic peace talks have yielded little, and the international community remains divided on how to end the war. The immense human cost overshadows every military and diplomatic move, a constant reminder of the true price of this conflict. In June 2025, Ukraine completed a major operation to repatriate over 6,000 fallen soldiers from Russia, a somber milestone in a war defined by loss. For many families, this brings painful closure, while Russia received the remains of 78 of its own soldiers in exchange. Meanwhile, the Russian offensive in Sumy has triggered a new wave of displacement, forcing thousands like Margarita Husakova to flee with little but their lives. Cities like Sumy, already under threat, struggle to absorb refugees as air raid sirens and rocket attacks become daily realities. Local resources are stretched thin, but humanitarian groups work tirelessly to provide support. Amid the chaos, prisoner exchanges, brokered in Istanbul, offer rare moments of hope, reuniting families with captured loved ones. These exchanges are among the few tangible diplomatic achievements, brief respites in a landscape of overwhelming loss. For many, each return, living or dead, is a small victory in a war with few certainties. The war's intensity has surged in Ukraine's northeast, where Russia has massed over 50,000 troops near Sumy, seizing territory and threatening the city. The offensive aims to stretch Ukrainian defenses, but Kyiv's forces have mounted a fierce resistance. President Zelensky recently announced the recapture of Andriivka, crediting the 225th Separate Assault Regiment for halting the Russian advance. Every village is fiercely contested, with control shifting rapidly and both sides relying heavily on drones and missiles. Ukraine's drone strikes target Russian assets, while Russia's bombardments continue to terrorize civilians. Despite the pressure, Ukrainian lines hold, and the recapture of Andriivka boosts morale and demonstrates tactical resilience. Yet, the scale of Russia's buildup signals that the battles in the northeast will remain brutal and decisive. The fight for every meter of land continues, with no end in sight. Internationally, Ukraine's allies push to tighten sanctions on Russia, aiming to cripple its war economy and force negotiations. The EU's proposed 18th sanctions package faces resistance, especially from the US, where concerns grow about the impact on ceasefire prospects. This lack of unity complicates Ukraine's position as Western support becomes less certain. President Zelensky warns that global attention is shifting, especially as new crises erupt in the Middle East. The diversion of military aid and rising oil prices, fueled by instability elsewhere, directly benefit Russia, undermining sanctions. Ukraine's economic and diplomatic fronts are as critical as the military one, with the war's outcome tied to international resolve. The interconnectedness of global conflicts means instability in one region fuels the fire in another. For Ukraine, the diplomatic stalemate is as daunting as the battles on the ground. As the war grinds on, Ukraine faces immense challenges on the battlefield and in the shifting arena of global politics. The repatriation of thousands of fallen soldiers and the ongoing displacement of millions underscore the staggering human cost. Ukraine's survival depends on continued international aid, but global focus is wavering as new crises demand attention. Despite this, Ukrainian resolve remains unbroken, with recent victories in Sumy and Andriivka fueling hope and morale. These gains, though small, prove Ukraine's capacity to defend and reclaim its land. Peace talks are stalled, and the war has settled into a brutal rhythm of attrition. The conflict is a stark reminder of the fragility of peace and the high cost of failed diplomacy. Ukraine's fight continues militarily, diplomatically, and economically against overwhelming odds and an uncertain future.
Want more stories that echo across the world? Subscribe to Global Echo and never miss the truth.